Oh, are there name tags in there?
You
might have missed
Are
them.
you not Audrey? Who's on?
Audrey.
Sorry.
Audrey's down here.
I'm Melissa.
Are you Melissa?
I'm Melissa George.
Nice to meet
It's nice to meet you too.
You want one of these?
We have new.
Yeah, we do.
Oh. Yo, Kyle.
Good
Fancy.
thing it's here.
Hey.
Thank
You
you.
official, no.
Wow.
So,
I take it all with me.
Yeah, no, I
Same
think I do.
contribution. It's not official.
Hey, Natalie, I don't know. You got another one in there? Oh.
Bingo.
All right.
Yay.
Alrighty.
All right, folks, it's 5:32. While Kyle's working on this last one, we can go ahead and call to order. Rachel, you want to call the roll?
Thank you.
Yeah, Richard Worth out.
Here,
Melissa Jordan. Here. Sarah McLean. Here. Danny Ruther.
Here.
Jamie. Here. Audrey Chapman. Here. Natalie Stackhouse. Here. Sorry, these are new glasses, so it's a new script. So I'm sorry.
Hey, look. Well, so we have 3 new members to the board, so welcome to the board. And if we can, maybe starting with Caitlin, go around and introduce yourself to everybody else. That would be great. And just say, hi.
Hi, I'm Keelan. I'm our student representative.
Dick, your turn.
Dick Swarthout.
I'm Melissa Georges.
Welcome.
Sarah McLean, been here a couple of years.
Danny Roder, I've been here just a year.
I'm Jamie Melky, I'm the council representative.
Audrey Chapman, and I'm brand new.
Natalie Stackhouse, same.
Well, welcome to all of you. We will start with the approval of the December 9th minutes. I think they got sent out in your packet. If everybody's had a chance to review them. Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Then moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the amendments. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right, the motion passes. Board communications. Rachel, what do you got?
No board communications. I do just want to do a quick thank you to Dan Mulder and Meg Fox for their service on the park board. And yeah, okay, then.
And Scott.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And Rachel, how's the new gig going?
Great.
All right, we're on to public comments. Any public comments, Kyle?
Just so we met yesterday with the personnel committee, trying to figure out how to fill her position. Got some ideas and we'll move from there, but it's not, she's helping us out immensely. Rachel is, because she's answering emails and trying to get a lot of these public events or events on public property applications, and I greatly appreciate that. And she's doing a good job for working part-time, very good job, so thank you. And then, but we are working on trying to figure out how we're gonna proceed without her.
Appreciate it.
There is dialogue.
Are you leaving?
Yeah, so my last date for part-time will be March 31st. So our last Parks Board meeting in March will be, so we'll get through the sledding date, March, hopefully. We'll be able to take Kiwanis Shea Park to the planning commission, so that will be out of the way. Another goal from March 31st that Kyle and I have is taking the building improvements for Zorn Beach to council before March 31st. So hopefully then, when someone does come in, those balls are rolling and gonna get done, so completed pretty smoothly. Should be a smooth transition.
Rachel, it doesn't look like we have anybody online.
Nope.
All right, thanks to both Kyle and Rachel, I appreciate it. Discussion items up for new business, the 2026 meeting dates, which are active.
I do want to point out that Jamie brought up, I think it was Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, our bylaws do reflect that we meet the 3rd Tuesday of the month. I reached out to Jim Raymer, and he's gonna switch that to the 2nd Tuesday of the month. So those will get updated on the website. I think that was brought up at a council meeting. So that'll be changed. Assuming we want to keep it the 2nd Tuesday of the month.
Any objection to the second? Any objections to any dates? Is there anything we need to move or anything? to move for everybody? Okay. All right, I don't know that we need necessarily a motion on that.
I wasn't sure.
We're probably,
Oh, I might have softball games or practices those days, but that's like season. We have a while for that.
when you just let us know.
Yeah, I'll just let you know.
And if we can come and watch you play softball, my golly, we can do it. Okay,
Yeah, if we have a general consensus, we should be fine.
yeah. Headed on to 2026 program and funding committee members. The board has two subcommittees. One for programming and one for funding, which mainly looks at fundraising and that sort of thing. Grants and that sort of thing. The program committee deals with a lot of the stuff that we do, like sledding and s'mores, or stuff that we do at the beach, or any sort of other programming that we might do. So those are our two committees. Right now, who's on what? You're on programming, Jamie's on funding.
If I may make a recommendation, it may be easier to do officer appointments first, only because the chair automatically goes on those committees. That's totally up to you.
Know that.
But just so we keep that in mind, the chair for our bylaws is automatic.
Makes sense, makes sense. Any objection to moving to officer appointments first? Okay, hearing no objections, we'll go to that. We'll start with chair. We've got chair and vice chair, our two officers for this board. So we'll start with chair, I think, first, and then we'll go from there. Is there a motion for interest in chair?
I'd like to nominate Danny to continue as our chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I'm happy to do it again. I'm also happy to serve some if anybody else wants to do it, but all in favor of me returning as chair, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, happy to do it. And I'd like to nominate Sarah as vice chair. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Dick. All right. Anybody else want to serve as vice chair? All in favor of Sarah's to serve as vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we got that. Quick and easy. Thank you, guys. Now we'll go back to program and funding committee members, because I get to serve both committees, which is so fun. Sarah, are you interested in staying on program?
I would be interested in staying on programming committee.
Jamie, are you interested in staying on?
I am okay with staying, or I'm willing to give it up if there's other people interested.
Fair enough. How many people can we have, Rachel, on into these?
3.
Three? Okay, so, and that includes the chair, or is that?
Correct.
Okay, so we're looking for anybody interested in fundraising committee or programming? Any of our new folks?
I'd be interested in programming.
Okay. Dan, do you have any interest in either of them? You don't have to serve on a subcommittee, that's not required.
So generally, just so if we're gonna keep it this way, the committees usually meet every other month before the meeting. So at 4:30, so that it's not a separate day, it's just 4:30.
Basically come
Every
early to
other
this
month,
meeting
yeah.
and then it's.
If that helps anyone decide.
Thank you.
I mean, I would be interested, but I'm not sure what it entails, so.
But you would be so good
I
at
can
it.
speak for programming. In the past, we've just taken a look at whatever's coming up next, making sure that we had, if there was any new ideas, that we gathered that information before we came to the general board meeting to have a conversation. We've also kind of directed the director to say, hey, these are the things we're kind of interested in, or that we've heard from the community or talking with other board members. And then the director has moved forward with a couple of those things. So it was conversations that happened prior to the meeting, so the ball was rolling, so when we actually had time to sit at the meeting, it was, we were just doing details instead of big picture ideas. I don't know, Jamie, if you want to give a recap on the funding.
Yeah, the funding committee, a lot of it, the last meeting, we were working on putting together a pamphlet so that we have something that shows what we've done, what we're funding, what we're fundraising for, and then just ways to get revenue or funding for any of our projects or activities.
Okay,
So now, funding, is that what you want to do?
I'm
All
down
right.
with funding.
The
We're
funding.
not doing funding either. That doesn't sound bad.
Okay.
I mean, if you need somebody.
Yeah.
Do it.
Sounds great. So right now we've got Sarah and Audrey on programming and Melissa and Natalie on funding. Is that okay with everybody? All right. Well, that'll just kind of let that. We need to have a motion on it, but again, the meetings are usually 4:30, so an hour before the meeting that we start here. We just meet in the same rooms, or nothing special or anything different. The council's kind of has some discussion about whether or not we notice these things. And if they're having some discussions about subcommittees, those meetings are open to the public, so it serves as just sort of a small group. You are less than a quorum of the full board, so you can't make any, so while you can have discussions and bring things to the board and talk amongst yourself and make your recommendations, but there's no authority inside of the subcommittees outside of, you have to bring everything to the board for approval. And again, council is having some discussion as to whether or not subcommittees need to be noticed or not. For us, it would be really easy. We add it to our normal notice that's gonna start at 4:30 right before this. So I don't think there's any problem one way or the other, whatever the council decides. So,
Can we
thank you.
decide at this point who's gonna start with February for
Oh, yeah.
programming and funding? Maybe a strong preference.
What'd you say, Sarah? I'm sorry.
Which subcommittee is gonna start in February? Cause we'll do every other month.
Okay.
I think it would be programming if we went off the actual, I think funding was the last one to meet, is that right?
I think
Yeah.
funding was, so I think, and I think programming has more on its plate early. So Sarah, so if we do, so for those of you on the programming committee, you'll meet on the next second Tuesday at 4:30 here in this room.
And if I am not here right at 4:30, you all are perfectly capable of beginning the meeting without me. I do not need to physically be here. So
So will programming and funding both be meeting at 4:30 prior to the 5:30 meeting?
So the programming committee will meet in February, and then in March would be funding.
Oh,
we-
so they
we
meet
alter
every
a month.
other?
Yep, yep. we
Oh, I
alter a
see.
month. Yep.
And my sheet says that a motion is needed for the funding.
I think in the past we have done motions.
We
with
certainly
numbers.
can. I'm sorry.
I'm just reading
Yeah.
what piece of paper. says.
But
I have,
appreciate that.
I'm not Robert's.
Well,
Right,
no,
really.
be honest on this one, and so that's fine, we'll do a motion first for programming. It looks like it's Sarah and Audrey, so if there's a motion.
I would make a motion to put Sarah and Audrey on this programming subcommittee.
Sounds good, is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that Sarah and Audrey be appointed to programming subcommittee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and then we go on to finance, is there,
Motion to add Natalie and Melissa to the funding committee.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Jamie to appoint Melissa and Natalie to finance subcommittee. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we made those. appointments. Sounds good. On to, where are we at? Board calendar? All you, Rachel.
Okay. So in the past, we have done a Parks and Recreation Board calendar. This is a working document, so by all means, this can change monthly, yearly, annually, however the board wishes. This just kind of gives us an outline when Danny and I come together and we say, what should we put on the agenda in January? I have a list of everything we need to do in January, because obviously that's a fairly extensive list in January. It's also really helpful when it comes to events. For instance, you know, in February, we know to start the Easter egg hunt, you know, discussion. And then in April, I know to bring a recap on the Easter egg hunt, same with Fall Fest, things like that. We put on here when we begin review a CIP, capital improvement project. Again, if the board wishes to change that month and when that discussion happens, if we feel August is too late, that can be adjusted at any time, for whatever the board wishes. The other thing it has on here, you'll see the park and recreation department does an article in the Harbor Lights. It's called the Parks Corner. 1 month will be the Parks Corner, and then the next month we do a tree board article. I think they call it the tree canopy. So usually I just put on here for the year, you know, Parks Corner article discussion, what do we want the article to be? Who do we want to write it? Usually we choose one member or the director to write the article. I sent it to someone for edits, general comments, and then it goes to the Harbor Light. And that's just the schedule for that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's definitely something we can review and alter tonight, or it's something just to keep in the back of your minds for a future meeting. If you want to add something.
Do you wanna throw, I feel like there's a couple things missing
Yeah.
out of that I don't wanna lose track of, when you're not here. So, I noticed that swimming and s'mores is not
Okay.
on the list.
Yeah.
Pickleball clinics, not on the list.
The
Um,
sledding and s'mores is later. It's in November and December.
Swimming and s'mores.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think you said
Sorry, it might be,
Want to share a month that you're thinking for it?
I mean, probably by May to set those dates.
And that's a really good example, Natalie, of when the programming committee would say, hey, this is coming up. Let's look at some dates, and then they would bring it to the board as a whole. That way it's not a whole ongoing discussion on a Tuesday night. It's kind of already planned out. Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. Keep going with that. Sorry, I made myself a little
Okay.
lazy. Dino Dig. So conversation probably should happen in May or June about Dino Dig. Yoga in the park. I know there's not a ton that Parks does with it, but at least needs to be on our list as something to continue.
I'll make a note, reach out to Ellie.
And I'm wondering if anybody remembers anything else.
Walking club.
Walking club.
Scott said he would still be a part of it.
That probably should be.
I'll do May.
April
for
or
all of
May,
them.
yep. And then I don't know if Dawson Moore, those clinics that he had going up
yeah.
there. And then this is something that programming committee can talk about, but at one point we discussed disc golf clinics.
Did you say disco?
Disc golf.
Disc golf.
Oh,
No,
good.
I'm
Yeah.
really
But we
interested.
should- disc golf, or
Yeah,
disco,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Disco clinic, Maybe we see, we could talk to Phyllis about it. And you just go back.
I don't know if you wanna add this to the calendar,
Yeah.
but we have to start thinking about like surveys and such for master plans.
Yeah, the calendar is for board use, so I feel like it's better to have more on there than to miss something.
Can you maybe put in on the February agenda or even March, like kind of a timeline for what we need to do for the master plan
Yeah.
so that we have something when you leave?
Yeah.
Rachel, let's put our heads together, sort of maybe map out what the discussion timeline looks like throughout the year for the master plan.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
And we can bring it back to the board and make sure
Yeah.
everybody's on board, but at least we'll have some thought.
That's awesome.
Pickleball open house.
Okay,
Another
clinics
one.
and open house.
So clinics and open house.
Do we want any? At least for I know you've got a Kiwanis building materials discussion on February, maybe we could talk to the folks in over at planning. And just sort of map out, when do we think? When are they gonna need approval? When does council need approval? When do bid documents need to be developed? That sort of thing, so we can make sure we're on
Yeah.
time.
So I plan on after this meeting, well, either tonight or tomorrow, emailing Mark. So all planning commission needs, I spoke to Jeff Grimm, is a site plan, which we pretty much already have, a basic layout, and then basically a presentation that attaches the project to the city master plan and also the Parks and Recreation plan. Dan and I had worked on a really nice presentation for Shea Park. It's a PowerPoint. It has all that with the engineering, and then I plan on doing the same for Kiwanis. I'd like to take them all in the same meeting, the planning commission. And then go from there, and then they can make a recommendation to council.
So from us, they won't, I know there's some building materials and discussion, but planning really needs basically what we saw in December.
Correct, yes,
Okay.
they won't need any, in all of those intricate details, to catch people up where we are with the Kiwanis building and project, is now we're looking at, we know our design, we know how the building is possibly going to be laid out. Now we're on to the fine details of what the color of the outside will look like, what materials are we using? Those are also all things that can be chosen as the project progresses. But yeah, I'll have Mark come, he had talked about bringing samples for the board to view, if you can.
So Mark is the architect for the project who council
Mark Boudet.
selected to do. Yeah, Mark Boudet. We also, I should point out that the cost of that building is being done through a private donation of about $500,000 to the city for the purpose of refreshing the Kiwanis building and making it more usable, bringing some more usability to them.
And those designs are on the city website, if you're interested, under documents and future projects. So they're all on there.
Can you maybe just attach it when you send a follow-up tomorrow? That way everyone has it.
And Mark's doing his architect work for basically nothing.
Yeah, basically,
He's been doing great.
in-kind
We've had really good interactions with him and it's been going well.
Rachel, do we need to, in the past, there's been a contract agreement with Harbor Springs Little League. And I think it's on a yearly basis. Does that
Yeah, I'll
need to
reach
be-
out to Richard.
Okay.
Usually I sit down with a Little League president and we basically ask each other what we'd like. I'll share with you.
They met last night, I was in here,
Okay,
and
Yeah.
they have another meeting first part of February.
yeah.
They're just, they've been asked to do the state's Little League, which is
Yeah,
a
I
huge
talked to him about that a little
undertaking,
bit.
and that's the same weekend as Forgotten. So it's a big honor.
That house in here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big honor on our facility.
Can we add that to the yearly thing though, so we don't forget about that?
And maybe
Something to
circle back
discuss.
for hosting.
Unless
Steve.
that's on a different list for,
Usually
Yeah,
that's.
yeah,
Yeah. Usually it's on my.
Fine.
Down with them.
Yeah. okay.
It's separate ends.
Ducks in a row before you leave.
Do we have, for January, I think we talked about it, I may have forgotten, but do we have something that we want to put in Parks Corner this month?
Sent it, emailed it.
You did. It's got.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, since I have, I'll just shoot it over to Charles. Like,
Perfect, thank you. Anything else to add?
I'm sorry.
No.
It's better, but
yeah, and if you think of other things, by all
Yeah.
means, this is something that can be altered at any time, so.
Well, this helps. And again, let's sit down and we'll kind of map out a little bit on the master plan, because I do think that's one of the big projects that the board will undertake this year and try to figure out how to make progress and
And for new members, if there's, agenda items you'd like to talk about in the future, it's really helpful for Danny and I to then look at the calendar and set them on a month. We can plan accordingly.
And I would say for new members too, if there's something you want on the agenda before, each week. So Rachel typically gets out the packets usually on Friday before the Tuesday that we meet. So before that, if you shoot me an email or shoot Rachel an email of something you want to talk about or they have in your minds, well, you can get it, you can bring it up at the meeting certainly too, but if you want to. Happy to
Could I
do
bring
that
up
too.
something?
Yeah.
Since we already talked about, it, we're
Yeah.
just backtracking. You were talking about the Kiwanis building and the private donation. Since they already said that it's not gonna cost $500,000 to do the building, is it possible to talk to the family about utilizing those funds since it was earmarked for a building for the parking lot or the grounds or something?
It's actually earmarked for Kiwanis, so I think there is some flexibility with the
Oh, good.
family to
Okay.
use it at the site in other ways. We'll see, we're kind of at that stage where I'm not sure where the bids are gonna come in. I don't think anybody is. We're trying to keep it underneath the $500,000, obviously, so we have some more money to potentially invest.
I thought Steve was pretty clear it wasn't gonna
He
be,
doesn't think so, but.
Okay.
The,
and he would know.
he would, well, the harbor master building cost, but it's not, so, but anyway, but that's a great point, Melissa, and one that
I
we,
was just thinking, because it's a comprehensive thing, it's not
For sure.
just that.
that's exactly right, yeah, there's more to be done.
Well, especially since you included in the thing that the surveys where people said what they wanted at Kiwanis Park. I think that the trout pond is probably a step too far, but the tow rope or landscaping or
There-
parking lots.
There are certainly lots that can be done, and we're hopeful to have some money after it goes out to bid to sort of then talk about what those things are we want to do. So, yeah, great point. Anything else for the board calendar before we move on? All right, usually you're up for orientation then.
I'll go pretty quickly through this, so if you have questions, you want me to slow down, let me know. I stole this from Victor a couple years ago, it's pretty done council. In January, so the purpose of the Parks Board is to advise city council, and work with the Parks Director regarding adequate park and recreation programs to help with facilities. Really intricate in the planning of parks and our master plan, and being advisory to city council, of course. So we meet the second Tuesday every month at 5:30 PM at City Hall. You all have 2-year terms. It is 8 members. We have a chair, a vice chair, a city council member, representative, a student representative, and then 4 city residents. And then,
May I ask a question? Everywhere else in all the documents, it says 7.
so I put 8 because I'm including the student rep.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
All right,
yeah,
I was
sorry,
just
yeah.
curious. Okay.
Ah, Chris, good catch.
All right.
Yeah.
So all of our good ideas really come from. That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Dr. X is secretary, so the minute, all of that is done by myself. What does the Parks and Board do? Attend all meetings, assist Parks Directors, management, city parks, events, playgrounds, and green space. We already touched on this a little bit, but the 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan through Michigan Department of Natural Resources and guide development of recreation facilities and programs. The Open Meetings Act, I'm not gonna get too into this. Quorum is 4 members of the board. That's why our committees are 3. My personal recommendation is if you're questioning it, it's wrong. So try and keep your conversations to work only. The Open Meetings Act does not mean if Natalie goes to New York and Sarah goes to New York for dinner and you see each other at a table, you are not breaking the Open Meetings Act. You can say hi, you can talk to each other in the grocery store, just stay away from agenda items and parks business, okay? Email and texting other board members, I blind carbon copy everybody, that way we don't have to worry about or respond all. When we see those, just know that's how I like to do it. Once in a great while, if I'm canceling an event like I did over the past weekend, I only texted 3 members. If I do text 4, I will specifically say on there, do not reply back to me. It's just a text to let you know we're canceling an event, okay? I try really, really hard to make it very careful and clean cut for everybody.
Just as
Yeah.
my, real quick, I do think the emailing is one of the places that you can accidentally get yourself a bit in trouble, so just be real careful when you're talking to folks, and reply all is an easy way to do it. All of a sudden, and I know Rachel, you do a good job, but sometimes frankly, I don't, to make sure that I have everybody not in there, but everybody. If we reply all, we are emailing one another, it's akin to having a meeting, we need to be really careful.
And that's why I always say just one at a time.
Yeah.
It just makes life so much easier, just one at a time. Better safety. Open Meetings Act, so what's required is a public notice posted for all of our meetings. We go above and beyond that, so we post for all of our meetings, two physical postings of the agenda, at City Hall. There's one right here in the foyer area and one on the outside of the building. We post at Harbor Market, we post at the post office, so those are the 4 physical presentations. Then we post on social media, I do it on the city Facebook page and the Parks Facebook page, it goes on the city website. We do Zoom, YouTube, all those other things, that's all posted then, on the city website after the meeting. Any questions about that?
Can we, and maybe this is a bit of discussion for the board, is there a way for us to maybe just at the header of our agenda, until council gives us some direction as to the subcommittees, just mentioning that at 4:30, whatever subcommittee is going to meet in the council chamber, so that when you send out this as a notice for this meeting, we're just noticing that subcommittee, and then what council can make a decision and direct us one way or the other, but I'd rather err at this point on the side of making sure people know that those features are happening.
We do that.
Does anybody, that make sense to anybody?
That's a great
Good.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. That's why it's helpful too, that they meet right before.
Yes, it's really easy, so we'll just.
Open meetings that we don't really ever go into closed session because we're not talking about personnel, or any law. Usually that would all be in council. If you have questions about closed session, basically we can't, you can discuss items in closed session, we cannot vote on anything. That always has to be an open meeting. No one can be excluded from a public meeting except for a breach of peace at that specific meeting. Parks, we will not run into that. A board cannot require people to sign in to attend a meeting. The board can establish rules for speaking at a public meeting. We like to keep it pretty chill at the Parks Board level. I mean, the public comment in general, 3 minutes, they have their time. But if we have someone here that's for an agenda item, Danny, we're all pretty good about allowing comment. We already went through a quorum. A motion must be made by one member and supported by another member before holding a vote. We already went through all that. A tie vote means a motion failed. If you are, I might have saw this somewhere, but if you are on Zoom, so you can participate in a meeting via Zoom. If you're out of town, please text me, just let me know. You just cannot vote. That's the only thing it holds you from. So please feel free, if you're not feeling well or anything, just let me know in Zoom, no big deal. City structure. So we have the mayor and city council. The city manager reports to the mayor and city council. And then we have all the boards and commissions. I'm not going to go through those. You can go to the city website. And then we have the downtown development authority. We have a DPW department. We have a zoning administrator, police chief / interim city manager / IT, harbor master, park recreation. Within the parks and recreation department, so there's a park and recreation director. We have a parks and recreation maintenance. That is Nathan Sterling. He is full-time. And then we have seasonal lifeguards and seasonal skate park staff. So if you have questions about the organization, we can go over that at another time.
The big
Staff.
the big piece of the organization part for us is
Yeah.
that we don't, the board doesn't report up through sort of staff. It reports where we advise council and council makes the decision about what then to tell staff to do. So that's one of the sort of, all the advisory boards are kind of like that. That we make requests or they make, or to council or council makes requests of us. And that's our operating. We work between us. Rachel helps us do all that stuff, but we don't direct Rachel to really do anything.
So there's Rachel, there's Nathan, and then 2 lifeguards,
There's usually 11 to 14 seasonal lifeguards.
11 to 14?
Correct.
Oh, because they don't work.
Yeah. And then, yep, there's seasonal, June through Labor Day weekend. If they're not all gone for college by then. And then, we usually have 2 or 3 up at the skate park, seasonally. Attached to that, what Danny was just speaking about, as a board, also our seasonal staff do not report to the Parks and Recreation Board. If you go down to the beach and you say something to the lifeguard, they're gonna look at you, no offense, like who are you? So if you do notice something though, in the summer, please, well, I mean, I won't work here, but to whoever in the city, to go through the appropriate channels to get to the seasonal staff. Same with like the city attorney, any contractors in the parks, we just ask that boards and commissions don't reach out to them themselves. We are on social media. We have a Facebook page and we have an Instagram, and I manage those quarterly, but I manage them. So, any questions on that?
Any questions at all from our new members?
Yeah.
Great.
If you do, don't hesitate to text or call. Okay. The project matrix next?
It is.
Okay. Do you want me to lead it?
So what you have before you sort of, and Rachel, you can help me out, but what you have before you sort of our project matrix. This is sort of looking out at where we think our projects in the near future are going to be. We will score these, but we have done it in the past where we've gone around the room and just sort of scored up the fly. And this time, what we'd like you to do is take these projects with you this time, take a look at them. If you have questions about them, ask the questions. And our thought is to work up sort of a survey that then that we can email to everyone. You can score them on your own and then we can aggregate them. And then when we come back together, we can start with those numbers that everybody sort of filled in and start with that as discussion point as opposed to sort of catching everybody cold. So, does that seem like a reasonable way to go about this? Okay.
So I think there's some project listing on here too, so
I
I'll
think
take a
there-
look at it too. Like, we don't have Zorn Fountain on here. So I'll take a look.
What did the highlighted things?
So in yellow, means that is something we are currently working on. For instance, Nate, Lucas, our DPW director and I, have discussed the safety maintenance. I mean, it's kind of ongoing. And then what color do I have? And then the ones in orange are capital improvement projects. So those are all projects that are $40,000 and above. So we will not be scoring those. Those are scored through a totally different system in the fall.
40 and above.
Correct, those are $40,000 and above. So those can be found on the city's capital improvement project list. They're already designated a year through a committee and city council. Those are something we will discuss in the late summer, fall. And then we bring them to council. So I have them on here so we don't lose track of them. We know they're there for each park, but know that those are not what we will be.
I don't know that it would hurt to score them, just because I know that council has talked about less projects on the CIP, and so if we have priority projects from the Parks Board, it would be easier to make sure that's what gets in front of council instead of sending 7 projects.
Yeah, I don't feel either way about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's one more line on the survey. Happy to
Yeah.
have the score and we'll see if maybe they're not our priorities anymore and that's okay too.
And if you need any help compiling all this work, I'm happy to do that.
What does responsibility mean when you listen to staff? They don't go out and shoot the geese, so.
No.
what are they doing?
I know, staff investigate, waterfront east control. So that's just to let me know that I'll be handling a majority of those projects and dealing with them, and ones that say,
So you're the one that goes out and investigates?
correct, the waterfront east control,
So sorry.
yeah.
It's a messy job.
Yeah, so,
I've accidentally investigated it before.
I think we all have inadvertently.
then there's some, like we've had in the past, some have been, DPW and myself, so it'll say, staff or Parks and Rec and DPW.
Thank you.
Yeah, and some, when it says Parks Board, it's usually when we're gonna bring in like a committee or the Parks Board is going to help, get a group together to volunteer in the parks or something like that. Just kind of keep people, I don't know the word I'm looking for. I don't know.
So, in the priority, high, medium, low, so 1 is high,
Correct.
okay. And, the goal number, where did you get that from? From the survey?
So the goal number is off our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So what I do, if it's 3.8, that means it's goal 3 and 8.
Oh, okay.
So. So number 2, review environmental best practices, that would be goal 8. That way we know that all these projects align with one of our master plan goals. When someone asks, why are you doing this? Out in the general public, we can say,
Okay.
because we did this master plan 2 years ago and it fits.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
One of the many reasons that the master plan, as we're gonna look through it this year, it's an important piece, it's an important document for us all to make sure we feel comfortable with, because we will reassess these goals. And we will sort of make sure that they're
Are you talking
jiving.
about this one or the city master plan?
This one.
Okay, thank you.
So making sure that the goals that we have and that we agreed upon, that in that case for the last master plan, but in this case for this next one, are still the ones that we feel comfortable with, or if we want to add or subtract or change. So it's important.
Thank you.
And you said 1 was high.
Yes,
3 is
yeah, one would be top priority.
Okay.
I guess my context or my thought is that we don't have a parks director at this time. So when we're prioritizing, when we're listing these, like there's some I feel that are very important for a parks director to be leading. Should we be focusing on, hypothetically, there's going to be a new director in place and we're gonna move forward with that? Or should we be focusing on things that parks maintenance can easily tackle? And maybe this is a discussion for it.
I think it's a really interesting question. And I don't know that I know the, I mean, I don't.
So I feel like some of my priorities would be different, knowing like who's available to actually execute this plan. I might prioritize, you know, something more than other if it's just the parks maintenance. that's
You want a
gonna be
hypothetical on that?
Give us a
long.
hypothetical.
All right, I would say, and it's hard to say who the new city manager will say. I would say hypothetically, the parks director will be not a part-time position, but a combined position. It won't be somebody like full-time like Rachel. I don't see that occurring. I don't see, I'm just being honest, all
That's
right?
disappointing.
And don't hold me to, but to answer your question, if you're trying to get guidance down the road, that I would say that that parks director is gonna be could potentially be a split position with another position. I don't think that, I know the importance of the parks. Some people know the importance of the parks, definitely know what Rachel brought to the table over the last few years. But I also sit in this room for multiple council meetings over the last 4 years. I know what the pulse sort of is. So I would say if I was a button man right now, I bet it would be a combined position. So if you are scoring something, I would score it with the fact of knowing that in the back of your mind. I just want to be honest. I think that's.
My recommendation would be, with that being said, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I won't be here, so I don't wanna speak out of line. I would say projects between Nate and DPW, I would score those as normal. The programming, possibly, you could still score, knowing that there may be a place for that in the future, there may not be. But a lot of these projects
I personally think that you
can
should
be on,
score as if nothing is changing, because it's going, if we score things still extremely high, even if it's a split position, that person is still gonna be working in the parks and they're gonna know that those are the things that they need to prioritize.
right, yeah.
And so I think just score it as if nothing's changing and we will deal with it. You know, some things might take 10 months, some instead of 3, but like, it's going to get done.
We're not gonna have the luxury of having a Rachel. Hopefully we'll have somebody very good and, that will, but she's been phenomenal.
So I think, so the goal will be to have a survey, an online survey that you'll be able to fill in, and that'll help us aggregate stuff. As to what you prioritize as that goes out, I think it's sort of up to you as you see it. What will be nice is that once we aggregate that, we'll bring it back here, and then we can add in, then we start to layer in some of those other discussions, right? So, okay, well, this scored here. Why do we think that is? We can have some discussion amongst all of us to try to decide if that's the number, or if it needs to be higher or lower, or how we feel, or it's reflective of a new position, or whatever it is. But we'll have that discussion together so that, but at least this will give us a starting point. So as you're looking through it, do it how you feel. The priority is for those particular projects, and then we'll deal with it in person when we all get back together. Does that make sense?
And then you also feel the guideline for whoever our new Parks and Recs person is gonna be. It gives them a template. Okay, this is our priorities.
Definitely waterfront use control.
Kind of fairly under control.
You do. Yeah.
Not across the street.
It's not-
LTS must have 50 of grass. I don't know how they.
Does that make sense for the project matrix scoring? Anybody else have any questions on that?
And there are no projects too small. So if you use the park every day and you go in the summer, I know Natalie, I see you around the parks and you're like, hey, I see this every day and it really bothers me, please bring it up. Cause we may not see it, so.
So it's a good point. As we're working on this survey, let's put a sort of a free form at the end. What did we miss?
Yeah.
What are you also concerned about? So we can add them.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that?
When would you like us to have that finished?
Well, it would be nice if we could talk about it at the February meeting.
Oh, okay.
So we'll work, but
Amount of time.
yeah, so we'll get together and work on it this month, get it to you. And then hopefully give everybody enough time, a couple weeks maybe to get it finished, so we can get it
You
aggregated.
give me 2 weeks to do some updates. I'll speak to Jamie. 'Cause I'm sure she has some projects that are on there, and I'll go back and listen to some meetings and send an updated one. And we can get it out to you well before the next meeting. There's also on here a completed project matrix list. You can kind of see what we have done over the years and kind of what the projects look like.
Impressive. Okay.
And a lot.
Lot. Any other questions on the matrix? Is there any old business that anybody can think of that? Any public comment on the agenda items? Okay.
No, 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 John, I have one more thing to add. Been a meeting today, and still gotta go to council about the Ice Fest and a drone show.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. Council has to approve it, but we had our meeting with the, I think it's called Starlight. And it's like, it could be very neat. Like you actually, they have a QR code that you get up and you can play the music associated with the drone show on your phone. Like, it's gonna be pretty, if council approves it, everything goes as planned.
I think it's funded too, so
Yes.
it's got a private funder, which is great. So-
Sure, counselor.
But it was really interesting to meet with the company who's gonna do it. I mean, that is pretty sophisticated stuff.
That'd be cool.
Is it gonna be Friday or Saturday?
It's gonna be Friday and we moved it till 6:30 if everything goes as well. They have like, they gotta watch the weather and stuff like that. And with maybe a snow date of the 7th, or the 8th, the following day. But that's, like I
Keys
said,
aren't gonna like that.
it's gotta be approved. So
We're not gonna like that?
So the keys aren't gonna like that current drone show.
Well, the dogs will like it way better than.
Yeah, it's true.
I
So, one more thing from the matrix,
Yeah.
where can we find the parks brochure?
Oh, I looked at that.
I'll send it, cause it's not completed.
I feel so much better. I could find it. No.
Yeah, no, I'm going to find it.
Are you talking about the?
It's the parks brochure,
Yeah, it's
with
supposed
the
to be
app and the
completed in
yearly
2020.
event.
You have this. You're talking, you're
Okay,
talking
I
about
forgot
your, the one with the stamps.
It was-
Oh, yeah, the passport. I'll
Passport,
grab
thank
some
you.
from my office
Yes.
before we leave tonight.
Passport.
I'll grab some. Yeah, I have that. Sorry, I was thinking for a funding brochure.
Yeah, we were working on funding pressure, that's not on, but
Okay.
yeah, the
Like that.
passport thing is really cool.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Or I'll give you one before we leave. We'll give everyone one.
All right, let's look at the park director report. Rachel?
Okay, so DDSA, sorry, Ice Fest is February 6th and 7th. Parks is doing hot dogs. Raise your hand if you're doing hot dogs with me.
What do you say? No s'mores? Usually
No.
there's s'mores.
So Ice Fest, so the DDA will do the s'mores. We just stand at a grill and pass out hot dogs for 2 hours. It's awesome.
It is fun.
And,
I'm good at that.
okay, yeah, you too. Grill it up.
I'll be happy.
So Harbor Ice Cream, the building sold, from what I've heard.
Real?
Really?
I don't know.
Wow.
I think so. So don't quote me.
Okay.
Anywho, we have a pop-up tent that we can use, or the Ice Fest committee will work on another location for us, but we will be somewhere in that vicinity still. Basically, we give out hot dogs for free for 2 hours. Parks does a scavenger hunt. Hands it over to the DDA, and then they do the rest of the magic for Ice Fest. So it's kind of 2 hours of your time. Definitely recommend you come out. And you'll find us at the grill.
We will
Is that
not,
Friday or Saturday?
Saturday,
Saturday. At what do you?
12 to 2, I think is what we do it. Yeah, I'm usually there around 11-ish.
and while there are adults that operate the grill, there are usually 5,000 high school students running around volunteering and who are always happy to put together the hot dogs and do, they're all,
That's nice.
so. it is-
Yeah, it's a pretty fun event, actually, for, 2 hours of your time to come out and see the ice sculptures. It's a
Pretty great.
good day. My husband will be there. I drag him every year to grill. So the Zorn Beach restroom, something I talked with Kyle really quick before this meeting. We're in a place where we can bring it to council. The things we're missing at this point are if council wants more quotes. Right now, I try to stick very local to northern Michigan, specifically Harbor Springs, Petoskey. Places are busy. they're busy or it's just, it's difficult. So, when we take it, I discussed with Kyle, if council wants us to branch out a little further, we can do that, maybe bring in some more quotes. And also if we want to bid it out versus just hiring a roofer, hiring an HVAC and plumbing and getting the project done. It still is under $60,000, so that's good, way under what we budgeted for. If new members, if you have questions about this project, I'm more than happy to talk you through it at the end of this meeting or any other time. It's basically updating our plumbing at the beach restroom, and a new roof. Shea Park and Kiwanis, we already touched on this, but hopefully those will go to the planning commission, before I leave in March, that's the plan. And then once that happens, planning commission will give a recommendation to council. And then specifically Kiwanis can go out to bid pending council's blessing. So that should be smooth sailing.
Can I ask a random question? I don't know if you wanna talk to Lucas, because I know that they're talking about doing the salt building and then the morgue.
Yeah.
And maybe they could put that on and get a better rate if
So,
one company's
It's
gonna
funny
do
you
all
said
three
that,
of them.
because one of the companies who's doing the beach roof did bring that up. If we had more projects, they would come in and knock it out in like 1 or 2 days. So I'll connect with you on that, because I do have that in my notes. I might bring it, we'll talk about it later. Park updates, Nate is super busy with snow removal, so if you see him, please give him a pat on the back and a hey and a thank you and any other kind words you can. Staff has worked to organize and empty the Kiwanis building, so up at DPW, so no one's lost when I leave in March and I don't tell anyone. Next to the DPW building is an old ambulance bay. Do you know where I'm talking about? Old ambulance building? Okay, so Nate and I went there and we took a bunch of stuff to the transfer station and we like purged that building of stuff that's been there since who knows when. And then all the programming stuff is organized and labeled like in accordance with that program in those rooms. So if anyone's looking for anything, Nate knows where they all are and it's all organized. So the Kiwanis building right now, that storage where everything is chaos is now just letting in some more stuff and easy to empty when construction comes. So that's not gonna be anyone's mess when that day approaches. Any questions on that? Cool. Programming updates, sledding and s'mores, we canceled due to ice. The top of the hill was really icy. We're also under a winter weather advisory. So it was a safe bet to cancel that one. I'll plan on January 24th, same times, everything's the same.
Are we rescheduling any for a different date and adding somewhere? or are we
Not at
sticking-
this time, no, yeah, my February is pretty well booked. And then, we'll stick with February 28th. So. Hopefully a lot of fresh snow.
Fingers crossed.
Anything else?
So usually my goal is to end our meetings by 7. The last one ended like at 6:30 on the dot. And this one, we're on a roll. It's awesome. I love it. Thanks to all the new members. Really appreciate you volunteering to do this. It is not a small thing to volunteer for the boards. It is a lot, and I really appreciate you doing it. So thank you, and we'll make sure that if you have any questions or anything you want to bring to the board, please don't hesitate to. I don't.
And I thank you all for your work. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kyle.
you.
Thanks, Kyle.
No, you guys have, the part we talked about the other day, a lot of things are being done with the parks. Tribute to Rachel, but you guys as well, everybody's been, so thank you for the site.
With that, I think we're adjourned.